Well, good morning and welcome to our devotional time. I hope the week's going well for you, or this weekend's going well, and I trust that God will guide you through this week of activities as you go forward in His grace. Well, we have been listening, or actually reading, studying in our devotion time, Genesis, and I've taken you through Adam and Eve and their story a little bit, the fall of man, dealing with sin. And then last week we talked a little bit about Cain and Abel, and I want to continue that. And there's stories in chapter 4 if you want to go take a look at that. And I wanted to talk a little bit about the differences between these two young men. And obviously, there's a mighty difference. We already know the story that Cain killed his brother Abel. And how did that come about? What was their problem? What did they have, or what did Cain have against Abel? And I guess more importantly, what was in the heart of these men that's different? And maybe we can apply the lessons of looking at this horrible event to learn from it and to grow in the graces of God. And we get some clues from chapter 4 in Genesis about what was going on in the hearts of these men. One, we see Abel, one of the differences was the way they approached God, and I would say their worship. And Scripture tells us that Abel was a gardener. Well, I guess Cain was as well, but their offerings kind of showed what was in their heart. Abel came to the Lord and gave his, what the Scriptures call the first fruit. And that's risky. You think about this, the thing that you have to survive, the fruits that you produce, and especially in Abel's time, that's what you survived on, was whatever your garden produced, whatever food you found. And Scriptures were quite clear that Abel, he gave the first produce to God. And that really is a trust issue. And so this was saying, God, I'm completely and totally dependent on you. And so I'm going to give you, I recognize that about myself, and so I'm going to give you the first produce that comes as a way to convey I'm totally dependent on you for survival in life. And we see the opposite of this happen with Cain. And I used to have trouble with this passage because, Cain was giving an offering to God as well. But when Cain would come to give an offering, it was of a portion was what it's called. And not that that's terrible, but we're supposed to pick up on the idea here that Cain was certainly blessed by God, and he got an abundance of produce just like Abel did. But Cain held back and didn't give the first fruits in a total dependence on God. Instead, he gave choice portion. And that's kind of like saying if I slaughter a cow to get the meat off of that, I pick a piece of it, a part of it, and give it to God, give it to you. If I would go about that way, that we're just giving out of something that we have, and so the idea here is that Cain had this attitude: this is my stuff, this belongs to me, and I think we're getting a hint here that the attitude is that Cain is saying, God, I'm doing you a favor here. It's almost like I'm going to do whatever I need to do to get into heaven. I'm going to do the bare minimum, whatever it takes to jump through the hoops. But it's not that my life is committed to you, but I'm going to, with these gifts, this idea, you're going to be beholden to me, God, because I'm doing this thing out of the kindness of my heart. And you see the huge difference in the attitudes there between Abel and Cain there. Cain's approach is common to what we see today. It's human effort. I guess you would say it's humanism. And it's almost, I guess we could say that Cain was the first humanist. He was the first legalist. He was a religious man. I'm going to give you a portion, God, a select portion. He was the first religious man. And then Abel was kind of the exact opposite. He wasn't a holy man. He was a man who approached the Holy One. And there's some differences there. And Abel trusted a holy God, while Cain trusted only in Cain, I guess we could say. And these are two approaches to life that are really incompatible. And we see in the result of this story, Cain recognized that incompatibility as well and ended up murdering his brother. And we continue to see that struggle played out in our world today. Well, this is food for thought this week. We'll continue to study in our devotional time the book of Genesis for a little while anyway. And again, today was in chapter 4 of Genesis, if you want to take a little bit deeper look at that. But I do pray that God will give you a blessed week this week. He'll prosper your time and you'll bear much fruit for His glory. Go in peace. Talk to you soon. Bye now.